All right. Welcome to the 71st IWAR Gold Strategy Workshop. I'm going to share your screen so you can do that. Uh, I'm Matt Riley. That's Michael Cook, our IWAR Strat guru. Uh, and just to get out of the way, I have a infection in the parotid artery slash salivary gland. So last Saturday I was driving to work and I'm like, oh, I feel a little weird. Felt my chin and I had a bump. And I felt this side and felt nothing. So uh worked for a couple hours, a few hours, and I had to I got to get out of here, get this looked at. You can kind of see the swelling. And at first it was just a little bump. I wasn't really worried about it. So they had me come back on Sunday to urgent care for a CT scan. And it showed that I had an infection and that I'd probably passed it's called a salivary stone. Essentially, it's like a kidney stone or whatever stone. It builds up. And in that process, what happens is it builds up, blocks it, it swells. You can kind of see like, oh man,
Mhm.
fuck hurts. Um, so I've got put on antibiotics, and I'm like, oh great, uh, clindamycin or whatever the hell it is. So I'm taking that, and I'm thinking, okay, great. And then Tuesday, it's like Monday, it's bigger. Tuesday, it's bigger. Wednesday, I work, and it's not good. And like Wednesday night, it's bigger, and then this morning, it was like enormous. I'm like, it like went all the way down side of my neck. So made some phone calls. They got me in to see a doctor, and he was great. He he had a really thick accent, so but he was he was very good. And he went through my records, and he's concerned because when I had my knee operated on, I tested positive for MRSA, like in my system, and they still
Mhm.
operated. All went well. But because of that, they're going to do more tests tomorrow, and they already upped my antibiotics. But the thing is that because I have lupus, I'm on medication called hydroxychloroquine, which helps keep my lupus in check. And if I don't take that, I break out in rashes and blah, 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 right? So the medicine they would give me to deal with it, they can't give to me. So they had to put me on something else. So tomorrow I'll get something else prescribed. I might have another CAT scan, this time with they call contrast, where they put liquid in there. You can see
Mhm.
it's pretty gnarly. Yeah, at times I feel like the whole side of my face feels like it's blowing up, but this side normal. That side,
Just just grow a beard over it, and
I I'll just
that'll
do
be
mutton
almost.
chops.
Yeah.
I'll have like the Lemmy mutton chops and be like, "You trying to play the game?" Yeah. So, anyways, so some people have asked about it. And I'll explain during the thing. So that's what's going on with that. Hopefully all goes well. And tomorrow the specials I see will be like, oh, we're gonna knock this out with antibiotics and be fine. If they don't, they'll do a surgery where they go in and they actually drain it, and it's super extreme. They'll actually remove the gland. So hopefully that won't happen. They'll just give me the antibiotics. The pills will work, and I can suffer on Tuesday like regular. But we're not going to suffer because this is the IWAR Gold Strategy Workshop, the 71st edition. And damn it, we're going to hit a 501. Maybe not me, but
Mhm.
somebody will.
Yeah.
So,
I
Mike,
did
man,
that two.
no pressure.
Yeah. So 2 cycles ago, I had three. Last cycle, I had 1 star total. So
Yeah, last cycle
due
in
for a
gold
rebound.
it was
It was
weird.
bad for everybody. I mean,
It
Fed was
was
a 499,
it was a weird
and
cycle
there was
because
only like two of them.
yeah, like I
So
had lower scores, but I wound up with more regional titles
yeah,
and like I had
because
more title
everybody
shots.
did bad. Yeah,
Yeah, so I feel good about this cycle going in because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have enough to kind of play around with. I think I have 11 or 12 shots. Um,
that's a lot. Yeah.
oh, by anyone who's asking for the Johnny B Cup and the Murano, the deadline is March 5th or 4th to get in, so you get plenty of time. And then what I'm going to do, I'm doing that early because the first round is 33-12, but I'd like to post online or have a post of the matchups so people can see who's versus who and all that jazz. I guess like this weekend, like beat the doors down and be like, hey, you joining? Which always rattles about like 30, 40 people up. So we'll fill the roster out that way. The lottery tournament, I got to work on the final list of like the pool of wrestlers. And pretty much if you trash talk, you're going to be in the thing probably. So we'll see. But I try to get newer folks in it who haven't been in it before. I'm gonna skip it this year because I've been in it twice and I've done pretty well. I just feel like, you know what, it's a fun experience, but let somebody else have it. Um, so yeah, so there it is.
And one league gets 10 free matches this cycle, right?
In the
That
BRL, yeah, good call.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. BRL had the highest strategy 2 cycles ago, earned that prize. Well
Don't
done,
forget
everybody.
those.
Yeah, that was a good cycle. That was that weird cycle where like people had 501 and got nothing, like ugh, or like got like, you know, like when I say nothing, I mean like they got like a title, but they got like no report hit, which is just really weird. But those
Now
things
they got 10
happen.
matches for it.
You
So
got 10 matches for it, so there you go. See, silver lining. So we're looking at a cycle with you know, some crazy numbers to look at here. We're going to break it down. We have questions here from people, so we'll talk
mhm.
about those too. And you know, shout out to players. Leon, thank you for, you know, running stuff. Mike's going to get back to you about the multi-strat stuff.
Mhm.
But we'll
Yeah.
talk about that stuff later on too. So as always, I actually have the IWAR chat group up on my phone. So if you have a question and you get it to me late, I might be able to get it in here, but we'll see.
Okay.
All right. What we got for us?
Yeah,
What make the
let's
magic
go
happen?
over roll still took a 29-28. Gold plus iron took away 29-27. I saw in the chat. I think it's the first time some of the players disappointment get two about, but we know that. Um, gold 2 cycles ago was 28, so we can cross that out. And you'll notice on 29-26, 3 to 4 are crossed out. Explain that the first two, this entire section here is crossed out because that combo would have the whole 25 dropping, and we know we always use it. So that crossed out 2. This one that I've got orange was the 2 cycle ago 25s, and we know that that exact combination has like a 2% chance basically to repeat. So we will cross that out because we don't deal with 2%. We like 60. So kind of a weird thing that leaves us with, out of all 29 is 112. So this entire top section is basically gone. It's going to leave us just that lower to middle to work with. So we'll go ahead and get rid of these, hide them so we don't need to see that. Then we can get rid of 26s because it happened 3 cycles ago, happened multiple times last year. It's going to be something I'm just going to ignore for a while, probably even all year. Like,
Yeah.
maybe at a certain point, you'll see me say maybe, but I just think you're probably going to lose more cycles if you try to chase that.
Yes.
It shouldn't come up again anytime soon. And we're froze a second, so
Oops. That's all right. We can
yeah,
riff
we're at least on the page we need
here.
to see. So
Hey, Grimly.
27s. That's the other thing people are asking about, and it's been
A lot of
17
27
cycles.
questions.
So this is just my guess, but we've already had 2 double drops, and we're 3 cycles in basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Get them early. That's
I'm
what I
gonna
said.
yeah, I'm gonna gamble that we're not going to see the third this early. So I'm going to just avoid that for a while. I don't know when I would say we're, at a point where it's got to hit. Trying to think back to 27s. So I got up to 23, and then it hit that second to where it was only 9. Now we're on 17.
Yeah.
And before that, what did we have? We had 18.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to see one at some point soon, but it could be July soon.
Do you think
So
it's going to
next
be one of
cycle.
those
So
things? Could it be one of those things where like for a long time we had like 30 cycles of 28s, and now it's going to be like 20 cycles of 17, and like like when that drops,
Yeah.
somebody else who hasn't dropped in a while, watch for them to be like, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's got to be
It
like
could be.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're in the start of the range, but as we saw with the 28s, that can go and it can just keep going. Um, so again, if you started using 27s, yes, you will have a great cycle, but you're going to have a few bad ones probably trying to get to that point.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think it's a winning strategy to go all in on it or anything. It'd be one of those, if you got 6 wrestlers and you really like a back when we get there, maybe put it on 2. Um,
Okay.
that's what I did 2 cycles ago, and it worked out with those 28s. But I don't. If I had like a single league shot, definitely don't put it there. But yeah, that's where it is. So yes, it's a possibility. I probably wouldn't go with it though, but others could be tempted. Um, so that leaves us with just the 129-26,
Hmm.
all of 28-27, all of 28-26, and all of 27-26. Um, you see the greens; those are the 2 cycles ago, and we, for a while we talked about, how we were comfortable using that, especially after a couple of no's. We usually
Right.
could get 3 or 4 cycles at least out of it. You see the pattern has really changed to yes, no, WCW Zodiac,
Damn kids.
and yeah, it's kind of at a point that I don't know what it's going to do. We could see it correct and go on one of those streaks, but I would almost say, even at this, like you assume a yes, but yeah, I think it's sort of, and you'll see this in the IWA. What does that cat know?
That's
Anything?
Martini, my expert, my secondary source for guru stuff, right? She knows I'm sick. She never cuddles with me, and she's been like really close to me. She
Oh
knows
yeah,
that. But she probably just wants a treat. That's really the truth of it. All right, get out of here, you.
yeah. I think we can go with a yes again, but I don't think it's.
Yes, that it will go back down.
I'm hoping we see a yes, but then next cycle I won't be as confident to say yes for a second because of what's been happening. But
Okay. I will say
um,
that's kind of rewarding though when you pick that and you go, okay, I'm gonna gamble on this, and then it happens, and you're like,
mhm,
and then Johnny B's like, oh yeah, ha 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 ha, and then no one
yeah,
gets today.
but yeah, it's something to watch over the next few cycles, and it may actually get to a point where we stop using it as any kind of a resource until
I
we see
remember,
something kind of level out.
I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, Larry had this chain system he used. And I don't know if I ever told you about it. Maybe I did, but it was like if it was 28, 28, or I'll say 28, 27, he would use like he would say the next drop will have a 27 or 28 in it. So it'd be like 28, 27, then 27, 26, then 26, 29. So it was always like kind of looping like one. And it worked here and there. It kind of actually worked out. And then I think that everybody got wind of it and was like, oh yeah, not anymore. Do you
I don't
enjoy
think
the
I've
little
ever looked at
inside
that.
tip?
So
It's gone.
yeah,
And Johnny B cackles.
yeah. If we go yes on that, it leaves very few options. See, there's
Mm-hmm.
5. Even without it, we're actually down to 14.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I don't really like 27s. I don't necessarily hate the 129-26 either, but it's just weird that there's one up there. Might be useful if you want to go all in on one front, but
Yeah.
the other reason I would go probably in here, when you have 28, 27, 26, and then 27, 26 here, the overlap between them, you've got a smaller chance of missing both.
Mm.
You can either get it right in this section or just miss 125. So I like that a little better. A little more forgiving to your strats.
All too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I noticed usually have the math formula will say like fronts, backs, but the fronts is blank. Is that any
Yep.
particular reason
I
or
just hit it right here. It's just that's how rare it is to hide 29,
oh, okay.
28 because it had been 10 cycles, so it's always been there.
Okay.
But yeah, 14 fronts, and you see we actually get to start at 8 backs, so we can go look at that.
Oh, the
The reason we
backs.
get to start at 8 backs is because hole 90 is free.
90s and 43.
So we get to put 90 right here. And we know that that is 43-1. So we're locked into using a 43-1 here. Now on the 45s, because we want our point flow to do well, you see it was the inverse last time. So the 44 45 went to 43, and then the 43 45 went to 44. You see it every once in a while has where there's 2 in a row, but it has a lot of ones that kind of flip on that. I think I would be. I'll probably go with the 1-2, but either one seems possible.
Yeah.
I tend to go that way because I don't know. I feel like it's a guess more often than not, so it's
Okay.
safer to go with the one that over a span of, let's see, let's go 20 cycles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 out of 20. So it's more common. So you're going to hit more often if you kind of stick with it.
Sure.
42s or 41s. I'll explain this and which way I'm thinking. But so we've had, most of last year was the whatever started the cycle goes the entire cycle. This year's been a flip flop. So we had 341s, 342s, and then we had 441s. Right? Nope. The 3 and 3. Yeah, that one's 3 and 3 as well. And then 3 and 3. So we could see one of two things. We could see that it's going to be all 41s again, or it almost has to be a 42 because 3 cycles or 3 feds need to hit 42 to balance it out. So
Right.
you have to make just a single decision that are they going to switch back to the all cycle same drop, or is it going to continue this back and forth? Because I have no idea either way, I'm going to go with the 41s. We've talked about how they're a little safer. And yep, I just think based on how long we saw, the full cycles that we might be in for one. So I'll go 41. I know that there's some risk
Now,
that
how
42s
about
are going to happen.
your thoughts
Mhm.
on the 44s?
The
That's really
44s,
what comes into play now is
yeah, yep, that'll
49,
be
so I won't say anything about but
no,
just it's the 44 is going to be living nightmare.
yep. So if we commit to 41s or 42s, whichever one you commit to, that'll get you down to 4 possible backs.
There you go.
You see if you have all 14 fronts in play, then we're down to 56. If you take away 27s, like I went to, I'm down to 52. So got to cut something else still.
Mm.
And yeah, it's going to be the 44s. Now, the interesting thing, you see how rare it is that what we consider the 44-2, so the weaker, which would be 83. You see that the weaker one rarely hits 2 cycles in a row.
Yeah.
So they're pretty good about keeping the 44s balanced where it doesn't just keep bouncing. It's usually the stronger. Even though half the time, that's just because 90 is more often a 44 than it is a 43. So it sort of causes this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's actually go back and look at when it was a 43. What did it do? The stronger still. The stronger.
Yep.
The stronger. Okay. So even when it is at a 43, it tends to be that one. So if you are wanting to cut down to 2 backs, you make your decision here on 41s or 42s. Then I would say if you want to commit to one, commit to the 44-1.
Makes sense.
So
That's
the 2
73,
stronger,
right?
and that would take you to 2.
So 73
That's
would be
probably what I'll do. Yep,
83
73.
sadness. 83 betrayer. Hmm.
Let's try to see. Yeah, I mean, look at 83 though. I mean, it had a really good stretch,
Yeah.
and you see, last time it had a really good stretch. It got a little rough.
Mm.
So, yeah, I think you're safe trying to load up on 73. If you do that, you'll also have a little more room on these fronts. So, knowing you basically have every combination, and we're not too crazy about the 25s from 2 cycles ago. That should give you a chance to take 2 or 3 out of the one you like, or go down and take 128, 27, 128, 26, 127, 26, something like that. But yeah, I would like that in on my backs. That'd get me down to 26 possible. And then it's just trying to figure out in this little section. You see out of let's see, let's hide these again. I had 27s too. Nothing's hit too recent, but not too long now.
Right.
When you compare what hit the last cycle, you see you have a bronze, you have an iron, and you have 2 that didn't hit. It's not necessarily just because it didn't hit last cycle. It's more common than you think that, like, here you see 29, 28s blank 2, 29, 28s there, 29, 26, there's a 27. So you can't read too much into thinking it has to hit this cycle if it didn't last.
Mm-hmm.
They do that pretty often to where you get a back to back. So you're not going to get a great read off of, anything here. Nothing's to do. If it was 2 cycles of not hitting, yes, it's probably more possible. But the other issue when you're in gold, that possibility still has 4 feds left, so it's not necessarily
Right.
as urgent.
Oh, well,
That
that's
it's
a good question too. Is
right in the middle.
the old question about what drop does the most damage to players in the rest of the feds? That used to be a considering point, but I know it kind of went away. But
See, it did. Yeah, it was one of those. It probably seemed more like it hit more than it did. It's kind of like the assumption that an iron are still the gold drop's going to hit. Yes, it has a slightly better percentage than some of the other stuff, but not quite. Like, it's still nothing you can bank on. It feels like it sometimes though, but it doesn't really. Yeah. So we've got. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Like I said, we've got really that center spot. Nothing, the 4 ago, 5 ago, 6 ago, 8 ago,
Yeah.
and yeah, just
And,
two had hit last cycle, two hadn't. So
and I would add a little
pretty
note.
much.
We talked earlier about player who asked us about your email about multi strategies, and I was
Mhm.
saying before in our pre-show about I always feel NWL players have a bit of an advantage because they can kind of have their guys be multitaskers, like go for singles belts and be running a tag flow, and probably do a good shot because the competition is not as severe. But I do want to encourage. I know we have a lot of players in NWL who are in the chat room together. If you want to run a more serious, like competitive tag team, like it really goes for like report hits or trio that goes for report hits, you need to have them be dedicated to that kind of flow.
Mhm.
Um, you probably best bet is like people to have a full enjoyment of the game instead of saying like, well, I'm gonna have a 6-man team and that's all I'm gonna do because there's a 3 wrestler limit in the NWL. Is to like say to one of the other players like, hey, you pick a wrestler, I'll pick a wrestler, and have somebody else and like run a trio together, and then kind of work on your strats together, and that way you can kind of figure out a way to like have wrestlers be singles or tag team or whatnot, and also have a legit shot at some major gold,
Mhm.
as the kids say. But I would
Yeah.
encourage you to watch the IWAR multi-man special. You'll see the link for
Did
it
we talk?
in the show.
I don't know if we talked about like trying to blend in that. Did we?
Do what now?
Did we talk about trying to blend singles wrestlers into a tag and 6 man?
I don't know if we did that. I mean,
Probably didn't.
probably should watch it again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. The issue is like a if you have 3 wrestlers and you try to make a tag in a 6, you're basically ruining your singles flow, limiting any chance to ever get an actual report hit.
yeah.
Um, your tag flow is likely not going to be perfect either, even if you hit everything. And same with 6, because you're able to get like where hole 25 is going to go, a few things like that. But you basically have to pick the two 29s. Like if 25 is going to 30 right now, you have to pick the exact hold that is going to be the other 30, both 29s, and then you have to pick the right 45s, which you'll get the 90 part, but the other one. So there's 4 holds you have to pick exact.
Another way
So
to
that's tough to do.
I feel an easy tip for players debating on like if they only have so many matches to work with, and they're baiting who to send matches
Mhm.
against. If I have a single strategy wrestler, I almost always send them against tag wrestlers who happen to have won a regional belt because I know they're most likely probably going to stick to their guns and go for another tag perfect point flow. And if that's the case, the odds are great that they're going to have a back five that has both 43s and both 44s. So instantly you say they're going to have a 41 and a 42 in their strat somewhere. So if I'm just looking
Mhm.
at that as a simple head-to-head competition, my singles wrestler is probably going to have a 3 or 4 point advantage before we even start the match. And I'm willing to roll the dice on that. So that's what I usually do for my strat or my picking my opponents because I'll take the cheap.
Yeah, I felt like every time I'd have like an IWR tag title match, that's when my guys would be on the title page where I'd have no choice but to just let them go, 5 and 40 that cycle.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing
Yeah.
about like in the BRL, you can you can win a regional, and then the next cycle it's like I went 3 and 50. Ah,
Yeah,
whoops.
the cycle that I tried to cheat and just sneak in, a better hold to make them not lose a regional is when I lost those titles after like a year and
Oh,
a half. So never
controversy.
again.
That
Not
the
do it to
White
myself.
Claws.
Yep.
Yeah, they're a good tag team. Oh, so running out of time notice.
Yep. No, I think that's
That's all
about
right.
it.
I think
So
we're pretty good. I think
yeah.
we covered the basics. Like I said, the multi-man special link is at the end of the show. It'll pop up. You can like and subscribe. We don't do this all the time, so um, And I should announce we will be most likely posting the Lethal Lottery drawing, like in this kind of format. I might see if Alex is available to do a special one-off, to do a live one, but we'll see what we can do. So there it is. I'd say it's the meds, but I'm only on antibiotics right now. So all right. Well, thanks again, Mike. And Gold Tuesday is coming. So it's President's Day holiday, but I haven't seen any notices saying like,
Nah, I don't think that one will
yeah, that should be
impact it.
yeah. So Johnny B and Kim are gonna be, out parading, whatever, but they'll be back in the office. So get your stuff in. And if you want to join the Johnny B Cup, the Marauder Memorial, or the Lethal Lottery, drop me a line and I'll do what I can to get you in there. All right. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next time.
All right. See ya.